Well, all right. Hi, this is Nancy with On Point TV and Quilting with Nancy, and we're pretty sure that we're live. I'm kind of waiting a little bit so that I can see here. Whoops, excuse me, got to turn down the volume on this. All right, and then it should start. Oh, skip ads. Do you guys all have to deal with this too? That comes up too loud, then you got to skip the ads. Okay, there I am. So this way I can see if anybody has any comments as we go. I'm going to do again another creative painting on fabric using the paints and, okay, I forgot to get one thing out. And the gel press plates. So there's the gel press plates. I'm going to be using 3 gel press plates. One of the things I've learned in the process of doing this creative painting on fabric, first of all, I totally love it. It's extremely addicting. I did some blocks that are upstairs, so I can't get them right now. For a traditional quilt, these quilts behind me are ones that I've done. Both of these patterns, this is painted stars, that's available, and this is fractured glass. Fracture glass is available, both of them on the website, www.onpoint-tv. And fracture glass, the instructions are for this and a paper piecing one. So the paper piecing templates and the special way that you have to cut your fabric so you can do that. So anyway, these are ones that I've painted. I've showed you lots of different things that I've painted with the fabrics using the gel press. But then okay, we had a big snowstorm in Michigan. I was supposed to have a class today, but since class got canceled, I was like, what am I going to do with my day today? So kind of thought I should do a live. Well, last night at 9:30 at night, they delivered an order that I got from joggles.com, which included Posca pens. That's Pasca. I will put the link to all of these supplies on after we're done with it. So if you can hold on just a little bit, yes, you could go to joggles.com and just order. But if you follow the links that I send you, that means that I make a little bit of money along the way, which means that I can buy more supplies. Yay! So I want to talk to you about Posca pens. Posca pens are a water-based pigment, technically acrylic paint in a pen. All right, that's what really matters to me. And if something says it's acrylic, that means I can use it on fabric and I know it's going to be permanent. So here is just a look-see of a couple of the things that I've done today. So this one was using the 8x10 plate. This was using the 8x10 plate. And what you see is that with using the Posca pens on the gel plate, you kind of get 2 in 1. So like here's one that I did doodling on, and here's one. And they technically were both from the same drawing. So what we're going to do today, the idea is we are going to draw with the Posca paints on the gel press, and then we're going to pick them up. And before we pick them up, we will do some cool layering on it. What I have found, the most pertinent thing that I have found that I think will be of the most advantage for you to know is that when using the Posca paints on the gel press, you need to really let it soak in. So these that I have right here, I'm going to pull this one up right now, and I'm going to use 3 gel presses as I go because you have to show your extreme patience. So this one's been on here for a couple hours. You don't have to wait a couple hours. We just had to do some shopping. But when I pull this up, that's when it gets the most of the paint up. And you'll see that it is leaving some behind, but that's okay because that's part of my process of layering. And I'm pulling this up. And all that other stuff will come up over time. It just doesn't come up at this very second. All right, so this had Posca paints drawn, those lines that you see. Then it had some stenciling and some stamping all going on at the same time. So there is a lot of layering involved with this. Now, it's a matter of layering before and after. That's going to make things look a little bit different. It's a matter of what kind of layering you do with the stamps and the stencils. And I'm going to pull this one up too, because this is another one I did. Oh, now this one's coming up here. Let's move the paints out of the way. This one's coming up really clean, and this was one that had like this had some leftovers, you can see that it just had some leftovers. So what I want you to know is that your plates will become crystal clear again, like this one is. But the trick to making that happen is putting down a layer of paint, putting the fabric down, and then walking away. And so sometimes for me, it's late at night and I walk away, and the first thing I do in the morning is I rush down here and I peel them up and go, oh, what happened? What happened? What happened? So, well, first new tool that we're going to use are the Posca Paints. Now, Posca Paints come in a lot of different styles of tips. So that is the large bullet point tip. All right, this is, let me see what this one is. Oh, that is a chisel tip. You can see that it looks a little bit, Athena said it looked like a highlighter. Then there is these little ones that are a small bullet point. I have not found these to be as productive on the plate. I'm wondering, I'm not seeing any comments. Can you see comments, Athena? I'm not seeing any. All right, so I don't know if there's anybody out there making comments, but if somebody could, so we'd have an idea. There is a chisel tip that I've used. I got other paint on it. So this is like the third outfit I've gotten on today because I keep thinking that's all I'm going to do is just that, and then I'll be done, and then I keep doing more. So then this one is a bullet tip. And then these are, I ended up liking the chisel tips best. So that's the fat bullet. This one is the largest of all of them. Every one of them has a shaker ball on the inside, but that one has a really fat chisel tip. Okay. So when you get your Posca pens, you're going to get a multitude of colors, I'm sure, because they're so fun. All right. So I'm going to do a bronze and this orange one. So this is orange. Wow, good guess, Nancy. And bronze. Wow. When you get them, the first thing you need to do is take off this plastic. So just twist the cap, and that'll get the plastic to come off. That was a learning experience. Like, how do you get that little plastic off? And then somebody showed me that, and I was like, okay, that was too easy. That's why I couldn't do it. I usually do two at a time. So you can hear the shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, right? Get yourself a piece of paper. So I've got a pad of paper here because when you open them up the first time, it's going to be a white tip. So I take two at a time, shake, shake, shake. Then I take, either I'm getting weak. I did have to do the shoveling today, so maybe I am weak. So I've got a bullet point and a chisel, right? And then take them and you'll pump them down onto the paper. And it takes a little bit the first time for the paint to come down. Now, don't pound, pound, pound. It won't hurt the nibs, but it just doesn't give it the paint enough time to move. So I'll like do 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, hold. And oftentimes you're just at the point of thinking, I think there's no paint in there at all. It's not going to work. And then you'll see, you can kind of see it with the bronze. You can kind of see that bronze is starting to come out. So then just keep pumping until the paint is down there. Do a little bit of shaking along the way. The bronze is just about done. Oop, the orange is out now too. All right. So that's got the paint out and ready to use. So for using it on the gel press, you're actually going to draw on the gel press and then let it dry. So totally not at all like what I've been showing you so far. So I'm going to use this. Oh, that's so yummy. It's just so yummy. I had an art teacher once at my old job, actually it was a vendor, and she would say, that's so beautiful. I think I'm going to marry it. I don't know how Bill would feel about that, but I love that bronze. That bronze is just awesome. So I'm just going to draw some simple squiggly lines with the paint, and you don't have to re-pump it all the time, although some of the paints, I must admit, depending on the color, seem to be more fluid than others. I don't know why, and you'll just get to know which ones you like best. All right, so that's enough of the bronze. Now, I'm not gonna, I guess I could do orange. All right. So no, I'm not gonna, okay, I just switched up those caps. All right, like I need to be any more confused than I am. Cap that.
So let me ask a question because I have one.
Yes.
When you pack away these, do they need to be upside down so that the paint?
Athena, that is such a good question. So, what I've been told is you can lay them down or stand them up. If you have the brush nib, which I don't have any brush nibs, the brush nibs are what most artists, more artist types will use. So, for me, it's all about a matter of getting the paint onto the palette. So, if you have the brush nib, you do have to lay them down. But they say on the Posca Pen website, they can be laid down or stood up, like top side up like that. Either way, when you go to use them again, you're going to be giving it a shake, shake, shake. All right. And so do leave paper here so that I can like make sure that it's shook up enough. And this purple, I've actually used it a couple times today already. So it's not like it really needed to be shook up, and just laying it down. And it's okay to take your time because, like, the bronze will not dry as quickly, and maybe because it's a metallic, it won't dry as quickly as the purple. And you need them to be almost dry before you can lift up the design. That's why this requires so much more patience than our normal mono printing that we do. What color should I do? What color should I do? I've got a blue over here. Oh no, okay. You know, that's the hardest part. What color do I do? What color do I do? All right, so let's test this one. That one looks good. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these lines like this because you can do dots too. All right, so the bronze is still wet. The purple and the blue will actually dry faster. So I'm going to take this blue metallic one. Nope, I'm going to take something that's a bullet point. Could I be a little bit more indecisive? What do you think? That's a bullet. I wanted something that is oh, that was a bullet. Bullet shaped. I want something that's a bullet so I can do dots. Just putting it down like this. Then after you do that, then more fun things start to happen. So if you are a doodler, you will find this whole process pretty fun. You did see the one where I did the flower. With that one, I just literally drew a flower on the plate, and then I got two pickups out of it. All right, now as long as I have this one out, and it's starting to get too sloppy because I kept pushing too much, I'm going to come over and create something on this. Okay, let's do whatever you might like to doodle, okay? So is there any comments? I thought I had put comments on. I might not have, though.
I'm not seeing any.
All right, maybe we didn't. We do have people watching, though. Hello, people watching, whoever is out there. Georgia's probably out there. Georgia, I'm not seeing your comment, but I'm sure you're out there. Okay, I'm going to fill this. Well, okay, I'm not going to fill it. Well, maybe I will. I never know. This is one of my favorite doodling designs. I do this a lot when I'm just sitting.
So I have another question.
Okay. Athena's got the questions for us today. Yes.
How long do the markers last?
That I don't know. I've not gotten to the end of them. It's kind of like a lollipop. I don't know how long a lollipop lasts, and I don't know how long these last. There is paint in them, so at some point it is a consumable, and every time you use it, you're obviously using some of the paint. But I've never used them all up to be dry. And this is doing the Posca paint. I've never seen anybody doing paint pens on the gel presses for fabric. I've seen Barbet Joggles has done one where she did it on paper. Elizabeth St. Hilaire, she did it on paper. And who else? Kat Kerr, I think. No, it wasn't Kat Kerr. I can't remember the lady's name. Another one. They're the only ones I could find that did this, but they all did it on paper because those of us that do this on fabric, we're special, in case you didn't know. All right, so I've covered that one with lots and lots of red. All right, this one is getting to be almost dry. The blue is dry. The puddles of red are the only thing that really are not. A little bit of the bronze. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to come over to this other one and do, is this the gold? This one's the gold. All right, so I have 3 plates set up. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to draw on this one because I'm going to use this one as my mixing plate. So, okay, let me do some drawing on this one. Red and orange, because why not, right? So I'm going to just put dots in here. Or maybe I'll do lines. Ooh, lines. All right. So you need to have a gel press that you can use as a mixing palette. Now, I only happen to own 8 by 10 and 12 by 12. There are other sizes. When I see other people do this technique, like Barb and Elizabeth, they usually are using a mixing palette that is smaller. So there is like a 6 by 6 mixing palette or 6 by 9, something like that. So, you know, if you need to buy a whole new mix palette or gel press, sorry, man, my words are fumbling, um, just for mixing, well, you don't have to buy such a big one. You can buy one of those smaller ones, and then you can also do other things, obviously, with those smaller sizes too. All right, so I'm hoping that once I get these drawn on, the other one will be about dry enough that I can add another layer. So can I just pick this up, just what I've drawn? Yes. And maybe on this one, that's what I'll do. I'll just pick up what I've drawn, but on the big one, I wanted to add some additional layers with stencils and stamps. Okay, so that's all drawn on. So the reds are still not totally dry on here, but we're going to move on to the next thing. So what I like to do, and I've learned this by watching Barb and Elizabeth and such, is take one of the simple stencils. So this is one of the stencils at Joggles, and I can't remember if it is Barb's or if it's one of the ones that Elizabeth designed. I'm going to use this normal fab paint that I use. So the paint that I use is the Delusions Paint that comes in the 1-ounce bottles. There's at least 36 colors out there. They're so fun. I'm going to take over here on this little mixing palette that I talked about and put some paint down. Now, I wish I had a 2-inch wide brayer for this, but I don't. So if you were going to go out and get stuff to try this technique, I would recommend a 2-inch brayer. I just haven't had time to get one of those from the time that I learned about this idea. I'm going to over here pick up some of the paint and then just lay my stencil down and put a few rings on. So I'm not trying to cover the whole thing with these rings, just adding some rings for some layering going on. Okay, there. Oh, got a little messy here because my red, like I mentioned, is not totally dry because I kept squeezing on it. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so I've added some design there, and I'm going to put this over here. And then I also want to add some design with the stamps. So I'm going to get, this is my piece of Decker Bond. I use the Decker Bond, which you can probably, I'd recommend you buy it at Joann's because that seems to be where most people are able to find it. And I'm going to clean off my brayer. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick up some of this black because I need to have room to put my next color for the stamps. All right, so I'm going to use this stamp today. This is one of Elizabeth St. Hilier's. This is one of the foam stamps that Joggles make. I love these things more than anything. If I'm playing with my gel press, these stamps are honestly my favorite thing. Yes, I love stencils as much as the next guy, but man, the stamps are just so, they just do everything I want them to do. Okay. So I'm going to pick up, okay, I actually have clean clothes on. I don't want to get something else dirty again. Okay, picking up that, I'm getting a little bit of black on there, but that's okay. And I'm just going to add some more layers. Yeah, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, quit laughing, Athena. You try it. Jeez, where's the love?
There's a reason why I'm behind the camera.
Picking up, adding layers. All right. So while this one, and you see down here that the paint lines are still there. They've not moved at all. The red dots did a little bit down here because I had been squeezing it too much when I laid it down. That's called live and learn. All right. And then one more over there. So I've added some of that to that. And I've got a t-shirt around here somewhere there, so I don't get paint all over the shirt. All right, so now while this is drying, we're going to come over and pay attention to this one. But to do that, I do need to clean off this plate. So let's just put a new piece down, or not a new piece, an old piece down. All right, so this is pretty much dry. I can still see a little bit of the red is a little bit shiny. So I don't know how long it'll take to dry. All right, so that's a generally clean, but you know, if you ever want a really clean one, you just take it and you flip it over to the other side. Boom, just like that. Now I'm going to take and put a new paint on here. I'm going to use, oh, this yellow. I'm going to use this yellow. And I'm going to pick it up with my brayer from my mixing palette and then put it on top of this. I wish I wasn't being so impatient because they're not totally dry. So just know that some of the lines might smear a little bit, but you'll get the idea. Okay. Please excuse me while I make this mess go away. The yellow, the brayer wasn't clean. The mat was clean, but not the brayer. All right. Let's clear that off. Let's clean the brayer. Let's pick that up and then start again because I really want a nice clear yellow for doing this, okay? Got a piece of fabric. I'll smear this down, and that's good because that's giving that more time to dry, right? So in paper world, people that do this on paper, they layer all the time. They do a lot more layering than I typically do when I'm showing you guys the techniques here. So that was the yellow, and that'll be, I'll put this one over here that I'll add something to it at some point in time. I want to pick it up one more time and make it be cleaner. If I were really fussy, which you know I'm not, if I were really fussy, I would have some hand sanitizer or wet wipes or something like that down here. Okay, so that's pretty clean. Ooh, had more on there than I thought. All right, and I'm cleaning off my brayer. Now, some people would say you can use a different brayer for, you know, if you're playing with dark colors and light colors all in the same day, use your brayers for two different, for that, one for light and one for dark. Okay, paint. All right, so I'm just mixing up that paint right there, and now I'm going to brayer it down onto this. You can see, my red is just a little bit leaking, but not too bad. And the reason you want to do it here is you don't want to put a whole puddle of yellow on here because you're really not trying to spread it out and blend it. You're trying to put a nice even coat of paint on top of the drawn lines. A little bit more up here. And you got to have enough paint. I wish I could tell you exactly how much is enough paint, but you know I don't have that information because every time I do it, it seems to be different. And now a piece of fabric, and it's going down. So I started with just drawing with the Posca Paints on the gel press itself, a rather clean gel press in my world anyway. And then after it is mostly dry, you go down with another layer of paint, all right? And you just have to be patient. Yep, my red did smear a little bit, although I think it's going to be pretty darn cool when it's done. And this is where the patience comes in because now you have to leave it alone. Don't pick it up yet. If you try to pick it up now, you will not get the dried paint that was down there, and we'll already get two of them anyway. All right, so now, because patience has left me, I'm going to take and put the yellow on top of this also. Alrighty. You You know, this time I'm going to add some of the iridescent medium just because I like the sparkle and shine. And that just might look kind of cool. And my bottle of yellow is getting to be a little bit empty. All right. So I'm going to smear this on. Trying to not blend the colors. So you're just putting, oops, see my red dots? Those guys are going to give me problems all day long, aren't they? So you're not smearing it on like normally we do. You're just rolling it on and hoping that it's a pretty good layer that you're putting on. And again, there's got to be enough that it will kind of, I don't know, does it reactivate the paint below? I'm not sure what the magic is, but there's got to be enough so that it's a nice, solid color covering. Okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. Looks a little bit messy because I can't let everything dry as much as I would normally. All right, would normally, that makes it sound like I'm usually a patient person, really not. Okay, I'm going to pick this up. Yep, it's coming through the backside. It is of no concern to me that it is doing that. Yeah, I must not have put the comments on because we don't have one single comment. So sorry about that. You guys can comment after the fact, okay? After the fact, I will put a link to all of these products that you can purchase through joggles.com. And if you follow the link, even just one of the links, and then go to the website, then anything that you purchase, I actually get a little bit of money, like enough to supply me some more paints so I can keep doing this. Yay! All right, so now I'm going to let that go. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to clean this one up because I want to show you another technique while these are drying. So I'm going to smear that out. Clear this off. Pick that one up. So I'm using, this is the first time that you've watched me do this, I'm using a white fabric that is a high quality muslin that I have not pre-washed. I don't pre-wash it. I just take it right out of the package. I've got packages of this that I can sell you in 2 to 3 yard packs for $2.50 a pack plus shipping. I'm sorry, $2.50 a yard plus shipping. So if you're interested, you can shoot me an email at quiltingwithnancy@gmail.com. That's also the email that you use if you got any questions. But this fabric, I just take it out, I tear it into sections. So if this is an 8x10 plate, I tear it at 11 inches and I cut it at 9 inches. And I can get, I don't know, 30 or so out of a couple of yards with no waste. When I'm cutting for the 12-inch one, I do have a little bit of, well, not waste, but some skinny pieces that I'll show you how to use later. All right, so I'm going to pick that up. So now I have a fairly clean plate, okay, because this one was just the regular. So, Athena, I got to get this stuff underneath here. All right. There. All right. Because I thought that there's something else you could do with this. The idea of tracing a design. All right. So I've got this. This is just a beautiful batik that I purchased. I did not make this. Don't I wish. I'm going to put a piece of glass down on top of it. And then I'm going to put my clean gel press on top of it. Because now I could use the pens. I thought I had a black one. There we go. I'm not sure. This one doesn't. These, let's see if this will draw. So yeah. So the idea, I actually saw Jane Davenport do this. She's an Australian artist, and she was doing something along this line, again on paper, but you know, that's all right. I'm not gonna shame her for working on paper instead of fabric. This is one of my older pens. I'm hoping I've got, there we go. So I'm following the lines of the design because I am not a face artist, but I don't have to be. Now it is, your gel press is maybe 1/4 inch thick or so. So it's a little bit in terms of like distorted in terms of what I am seeing. So this one is the small bullet point. Oh, that'll work good.
After you're done, lift it up so we can see the actual.
Yes.
It's kind of hard.
You mean what I'm painting or what is underneath?
Because you're using the dark color, you can't really see the
Ah,
tracing.
gotcha. Yep. Bring it down. Wanted to get something traced down there so then I could take the. So can you see it at all through it?
A little bit.
Okay. I'm gonna put that down. And I don't have all of my pens primed, so I don't want to take the time to do that right now.
But the idea is.
Yeah. And so you can do this using it as tracing if you're not, the artist type, or you think you're not an artist, although I don't believe in my book, that's not a thing. Everybody is an artist. You're just a matter of whether or not you've piped into your artistness.
Your
Artistry. Okay, that's a good word. That's a good word. Artistness. So let's imagine I was taking more time with this. I think I definitely want to use a better black, or a thicker black, I should say, so that I can actually see. And if you ever watch Jane Davenport do this, you would be blown away because she's like absolutely amazing when it comes to faces. But this was the only thing that I could find to draw. I was actually thinking about leaves, but of course, couldn't find anything the very second that I wanted to do it. Okay, I've got a red. So imagine doing this with a simpler design. A face is honestly, for me, kind of very, very difficult. If it were just a geometric design, that would be kind of fun. There. So that would be the idea. I would definitely play with that more. You want me to turn it this way?
Yeah.
So I would definitely add more to that and then do the same idea. Once I was done with all, and I'd maybe do some design out here like it's got on the boutique panel here, add more to it, then put that layer of paint on top of it, and then put your fabric down and pull it up. So you could use this idea with just a simple piece of glass between whatever you're drawing. Although with this, the fabric, I could have put the gel press right on top of it. My original plan had been to use something that was a paper, and that's why I came up with I grabbed a piece of glass. All right, so we are ready to pull these up. I want to warn you though, that it's not going to pull up everything. If I leave it here for a couple of hours, it will. It's not going to, and that's going to make it so I can get a second press or a second pull. All right, now I think this one's really cool. Love the yellow behind that. All right. And then I'm going to use, I've got to somehow get more on here. Because this is super dry, do I want to do yellow? Yellow's all I got. So we're going to, no, yeah. Goodness gracious, could I be more indecisive, Athena? Put a little bit of that in there because I don't have that much of the yellow on there. Because I want to get another piece on here so that I will end up getting 2 pulls. And so the second pull, the paint is definitely dry there, so it's not so much of a concern that I will smear the design, the Posca Paint design. Yeah, that goes down there. And that will give me a second one that will be, because I used yellow, it will be very similar to the first one. But the second one, I will leave it on. I'm going to, when Athena and I are done, when we say, okay, we're done, I'll probably just close down and then leave it there for a couple of hours at least. All right, let's see what this one looks like. So here we've got a little bit of the stamping going on, a little bit of the stenciling going on. It is just all bunches of stuff. Lots and lots of layers going on. And you can see the bronze is still down there, and that's okay, because I'll pull that more with the second print. All right. So the black got a little bit messy because I was being impatient. So it smeared a little bit. But the rest of it, I love the lines on there. I think it's just pretty cool. So this time I'll use a purple because I want something that I'll be able to see the design, the colors through. So I had the bronze on there. So this purple should bring out those colors on that next pull. So every time you put a design down, you're gonna, for the most part, get two pulls. Adding layers is always gonna be fun, but like if I waited to add a layer, with the stencils or the stamps on this one, then I'd wait for them to dry again before I did the second one. So usually when I'm doing the second pull, I am not putting anything else on it. I'm just picking it up, putting down the new color, and then a new piece of fabric. Like that. All right. So there you go. There's my new idea for creating more fabric for quilting with. These are all used for quilting. If you reference some of the previous videos that I've done on this, you'll see where I take you through the whole gambit of how I usually oftentimes will start by just making a solid, and then I do lots of stamps and stencils. I think there are now maybe 4 or 5 videos out there on the painting. So a lot more information, totally permanent on fabric, great for quilt projects, gonna quilt great, it's gonna wash great, does not bleed, all of that kind of normal stuff, all right? So sorry about not having the comments. I guess I just don't know I'll look at the comments that you place afterwards. I always do. After we get this posted, I will put the links on the bottom of it. So if you're watching this later, there are links on the bottom for all of the supplies that I've used. And there you go. That was kind of fun. So have a great Sunday.